Mr. Provencio, did you ever become aware of a CD that was produced by Michael Jackson?
Your microphone.
I'm in my own world today. Did you ever become aware of a CD that was produced by Michael Jackson entitled Invincible?
The album, Invincible, yes.
Do they still call them albums nowadays?
Yeah, CDs, albums.
Are there actually people who remember albums?
Yeah, I hope so.
Did you have an opportunity to take a look at it?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Did you look at the credits that are contained in it?
Oh, yeah, Mark gloated over it.
Objection. Move to strike.
Stricken. The last sentence.
I'd like to show you Exhibit 887, please. Is that, in fact, the CD Invincible produced by Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Was that published during the course of your employment with Neverland Valley Entertainment?
Yes, but it was a Sony record.
A Sony production?
Yes, it's a Sony record.
Alright. Are there credits that are published along with that CD?
Yes.
And did you have an opportunity to look at them?
Oh, many times.
Alright. Is there, in fact, a credit there to Mark Schaffel?
Yes.
Could you read that to us?
Mark Schaffel. Thank you for all your help. I love you, Michael.
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
I'm sorry, we heard the, thank you for all your help. What's the next part?
Thank you for all your help. I love you, Michael.
Is there also a credit to the Casio family, including Frank Casio?
Yes.
And did you find that?
Yes, Frank.
What does that say?
Frank. Thank you for all your help, love and support. You are my true friend and family. Stop fishing. I love you, Michael.
Is there a separate credit to the Casio family, other members of the Casio family besides Frank?
There is. Let me look for it. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Special thanks to Connie, Mama Rubba. I think that's Angel and Frank, my other family.
Is there a credit there to Bob Jones?
Yes.
What does that say?
Let me find it. Special thanks and appreciation to Bob Jones for your continuing support and love over the years. Love, Michael Jackson.
Do you know when Invincible came out?
2001.
Alright. I'd move into evidence exhibit number 887.
No objection.
May I approach the witness? I'd like to show some other exhibits.
It's admitted. Yes. You're stepping on my lines here.
Let me put this notebook in front of you, if I may, and with the admonition that it's.
Oh, the water spilled. Thank you. Okay.
I'd like to direct your attention to exhibit number 400 that's before you here. And with the admonition as we turn each page, do it gingerly, because it gets caught in the binder. Number 400 is the document that's currently in front of you. Do you recognize that document?
Yes.
What is that document?
The work agreement.
And was that a work agreement for whom?
For Mark, I believe, yes.
Okay. At Neverland Valley Entertainment?
Correct.
Was that kept at Mr. Schaffel's offices at his home?
Yes, in the filing cabinet.
And you've seen that document before, have you?
Yeah, it was. It's laid out a couple of times, too.
Number 401, please. 401, consisting of 1, 2, 3 and 4 pages. Do you know what these pages are?
This is the agreement where Michael gives Mark the song and gives me a point on the record, on, what more can I give?
And this was kept at Mr. Schaffel's residence, the offices to Neverland Valley Entertainment?
Yes, and I had a copy as well.
Exhibit number 402. Tell us, please, what 402 is.
It's the reports on basically money that we're spending, receipts, and what we've been spending on, production people for the record, Brad Buxer, Bruce Swedian, who was a production person for What More Can I Give?
Did you participate in putting these compilation figures together?
Yeah, parts. And then, we would work on parts and then bring it all together, because we had to hunt down receipts and just do what you do in any kind of an office.
Was this document, number 402, kept at Neverland Valley Entertainment offices at Mr. Schaffel's residence as well?
Yes, that's part of how we'd track money.
And was that where you and Mr. Schaffel compiled those figures?
Yes.
Going to number 405, please. The document, number 405, with the name, at the upper left hand, of Bell Yard. Had you ever seen that document before?
Yes.
And where did you see that document?
Laying around in the office.
Did you have any discussions with Mr. Schaffel concerning the content of that document at any time?
I was just concerned for the family.
Hold on a second. It's a yes or no.
Yes.
Yes, you did have a conversation with Mr. Schaffel concerning that document?
Yes.
Do you recall at what time that was? When, approximately, in terms of month, year?
February 2003.
Now, let me correct something while I remember to do so. The telephone conference calls that you referred to. The two of them, where you were listening in on those two conference calls, were at the beginning of what month?
February.
It was February 1st and February 2nd?
2nd, 3rd.
Or 2nd or 3rd was the other one?
Yes.
2003?
2003.
I may have said, January, early on. Do you have a recollection of that at all?
January was when the transcript was sent.
Alright, so the conference calls were at the beginning of February?
Correct.
Alright, I take you now to Exhibit 409. What is this, please?
Oh, this is the thing we would. Basically, we had a wall where we just stuck people's numbers on so that everybody knew who they were when they called and how to get a hold of them.
And the wall was where?
Right there in Mark's office. There was an extra space right there for someone to work on the other computer.
Do you know who compiled those documents?
Well, we all did, pretty much. We would write them down and then, this one looks like it was done by Mark or Christian.
Okay.
So.
And this document contains a phone number and the name of Gavin Arvizo, is that correct?
Yes.
Showing you now number 410, please. Tell us what 410 is.
It's the same thing, basically phone numbers of people we need to know. David Legrand, Ronald Konitzer. You know, if they called, so you would recognize numbers and know to patch them into Mark right away.
And did this also include the name Gavin, Orvizo, spelled Orvizo?
Yeah.
We are in exhibit number 413, and 413 is a piece of paper, yellow legal pad, that has handwriting writing on it. Do you recognize the handwriting of exhibit number 413?
Yeah, it's Vinny's.
This is 413, specifically page 6. That's Vinny's handwriting?
Yes.
And you've seen his handwriting before?
Many times. He always writes in notebooks.
Let's see if we can get to the very back of that. Let's just do that.
No, I can just hold it.
Alright, showing you exhibit number 423 then, which is a collection of pages. Do you recognize these documents?
Yes, they're the Parviz documents.
The entire collection of documents?
Yes, I mean, these are what Parviz had to sign and Mark had to sign and Michael had to sign.
And you had testified to those documents yesterday, is that correct?
Right, because we went there twice.
And where was that collection of documents kept?
In the office.
Was there a particular file it was kept in?
Well, yeah, I think it was just the Parviz loan file.
It was kept in the office at Mr. Schaffel's residence?
Yes, in the filing cabinet.
Thank you. Go ahead and
shut it all?
Well, leave it like that. I'll take care of it. In the early days of Neverland Valley Entertainment after you had started up and until the time that Mark Schaffel was formally fired, were you involved in meetings or conference calls with Michael Jackson?
Yes.
Was he involved in the business decisions of Neverland Valley Entertainment?
Absolutely.
Objection. Foundation.
Sustained.
Alright. Were you able to watch Mr. Jackson's participation in meetings that were held between Mr. Jackson and Mr. Schaffel?
Yes.
Alright. Were you able to listen to the interaction between the two of them?
Yes.
Were you able to listen and understand the content of the dialogue between the two of them?
Oh, yeah, because it was business.
Alright. And did those conversations take place with some level of frequency?
Yes. I mean, yes.
And did you hear all of them when they did?
Not all of them, no.
What percentage of conversations were you a witness to?
Well, if we had a face-to-face meeting, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I was there with those meetings, with him and Michael.
How many face-to-face meetings did you have with Michael Jackson and Mr. Schaffel?
There was 3 at the Beverly Hills Hotel, 2 at the Universal Hilton, and then all the ones in the studio, when Michael would come to the studio.
And how many times did that happen?
4. Maybe 4, 5 times maybe.
As to all of those meetings, was business discussed?
Excuse me?
As to all of those meetings, was there a discussion of business matters?
Yes, my situation with Michael was always business, just business.
Was Michael Jackson actively involved in the business of Neverland Valley Entertainment?
Yes.
In what way?
He was the captain at the helm.
All right, and what do you mean by that?
He had to make the decisions. It was Michael Jackson's project. What more can I give? Michael and Mark's.
I want to move back now to February and March of 2003.
Uh-huh.
Did you have a discussion with anyone among the people who, may I have just 1 second? Did you have a discussion with anyone among the people who were working for Michael Jackson where the words or word, killers, became part of the conversation?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes.
All right. With whom did you have that discussion?
With Mark and Vinny.
All right. Who was the first person with whom you had that discussion?
Mark.
And where were you at the time of that discussion?
I was in his office.
Do you remember when that was? Can you tell us as to the best of your recollection?
It was right after the Arvizos came to the house the first time.
Did the Arvizos actually come to the house?
Oh, yeah, twice.
On more than one occasion?
That I saw, twice.
Did they ever actually come into the house?
Yes.
Did you ever meet them?
Well, I pointed to the bathroom.
Okay.
When Gavin, or the boy, came in.
All right. Did other members of the Arvizo family come into the house besides Gavin?
Yes. They were in the car.
Did they actually come into the house?
No.
All right. Was Gavin the only member of the family to actually come into the house?
That I saw, yeah.
Do you remember when those 2 visits were?
Had to have been, well, I don't remember exactly the date, but I remember when they came, you know.
Do you remember if it was still in February of '03?
Oh, it was in February for sure.
Do you remember how far apart these 2 visits were?
They were pretty close because they were going shopping.
Did you ever see the other members of the family besides Gavin?
Yes, the young girl.
Did you ever see the mother?
No.
Were you ever introduced to any of them?
No.
Now, I asked you the question about the discussion of the word, killer, or killers.
Uh-huh.
And you said that it was Frank. Excuse me, you said it was Mark Schaffel.
Mark and Vinny.
And Vinny. Tell me about the conversation with Mark Schaffel involving the word, killer.
Well.
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
Go ahead.
He said, he made a flippant remark about the killers, and I was kind of trying to figure out what was happening here. So I said to him, I said, well, what killers? And he said, the killers that are after the Arvizos. And I think I'm pronouncing the name right. And I said, because I thought, well, maybe I should be.
Objection. Non-responsive. Narrative.
Narrative. Sustained.
All right. He said the killers that were after the Arvizos, is that correct?
Correct.
Did he say anything else about the killers?
No, that was the first time I was hearing about it, so it was a flippant remark.
Did you ever hear the word, killers, prior to that?
Never.
Did you ask him about that, to explain further?
Yes.
And what did you ask him?
I said, who are the killers?
And what did he say?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled. You may answer.
What did he say?
He says, the killers that are after the family. I mean, he didn't really go into it. That was the first time I was hearing about it. So.
Did he offer any further explanation?
No, that's what was alarming, because.
Objection. Move to strike.
Strike the last sentence.
Were you alarmed by those comments?
Absolutely.
Did you ask him for any further explanation?
No, because I didn't know, it was just an alarming situation.
What was the tone of that?
Objection. Move to strike.
Overruled. Next.
What was the tone of his comments?
The comment about the killers.
Yes.
Just flippant, like it was nothing. Like, oh, the killers.
And that conversation lasted for approximately how long?
15 seconds, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, it just didn't go on that long. It was just the killers. And I was.
Did you ever pursue that conversation with anybody else?
Yes.
Was that Vinny?
Yes, it was Vinny.
Approximately how long after your conversation with Mark Schaffel was it that you had the conversation with Vinny?
I raced over to the phone and picked up the phone and called him.
So immediately?
Immediately.
Alright. What did you ask Vinny?
Who the heck are the killers?
What did he say?
He goes, there are no killers.
Did he say anything beyond that?
He said that they were calling him a faggot at school, and that was really it. It was just so, it was another kid or something, I don't know. But he just said that they were calling him a faggot at school, so.
Was that the end of that conversation?
Pretty much.
Did you have a conversation with anybody among the people who worked for Michael Jackson at that time about escape or escaping from Neverland?
Objection. Leading.
Overruled.
Yes.
Alright. With whom did you have that conversation?
With Mark and Vinny again.
Okay. At the same time, or at separate times?
Separate times.
With whom did you first speak about that subject?
Mark.
And what did Mark say to you?
Objection. Hearsay.
Overruled.
What did he say to you?
I can't talk right now. They just escaped.
Was there any further discussion with him at that point?
No, he just got off the phone. It was kind of ugly.
You were talking to him over the telephone?
Yes.
Alright. Did he make any further qualifications on that?
No.
Did you have, but the word, escaped, was the word he used?
He used, escaped.
Okay. Do you know when this conversation took place, as best you can recall?
Yes. I was. My dad was. I was taking care of my dad because he was dying of liver cancer, so I was taking care of him at his house, so I called on the phone.
And his house was where?
In Michigan.
And so your conversation was with Mr. Schaffel by telephone?
Yes.
Do you remember what period of time you were tending to your father's needs in Michigan?
It would have been March, the 1st of March, like around the 6th or 7th, something around there.
The early part of March?
Yeah, it was the 6th. I think it was the 6th or 7th.
Are those to the best of your recollection, the dates?
Oh, I remember. You don't forget, escape.
Objection. Move to strike.
No, I understand the content of the conversation, but the date.
Sustained.
Yes, the date, sorry.
Now, did you follow up that conversation, on the question of escape, with anybody else?
I didn't bring it up. I just called Vinny.
Alright. Was this one of those things where you did it again immediately after?
Yes, I did it often, to see what the truth was.
Objection. Move to strike. Non-responsive.
I'll strike the last voluntary clause.
Did you, in fact, call Vinny soon after your conversation with Mr. Schaffel where the word, escaped, was used?
Yes.
Alright. Did you have a conversation with Vinny about that particular word?
It was just very quick.
What did you ask Vinny, and what did he tell you?
Objection. Hearsay. Compound.
Overruled. You may answer.
Go ahead.
He essentially was panicked and said he couldn't talk right now because the family just escaped.
He said that as well?
Yeah, pretty much the same thing.
Did you ask him for any clarification on that as well?
No, because I was kind of relieved.
I'm sorry?
I was relieved.
Objection. Move to strike. Non-responsive.
After, no, I'll strike that.
Alright. Did he offer any other commentary or explanation?
No, he just wanted to get off the phone.
And did you get off the phone?
Yes.
Alright. When did you leave Neverland Valley Entertainment?
The beginning of March.
Did you complete your contract with them?
Yes.
Were you paid everything in accordance with your contract?
Yes. I received my last check on the 25th of February.
And the point that you had already given back to Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions. Hold on just 1 second, Mr. Mesereau. Excuse me, Your Honor, if I could have just 1 moment.
Yes.
No further questions. Thank you, Your Honor.
May I just take a second, Your Honor?
Yes.
Good morning.
Hello.
Mr. Provencio, we haven't spoken before. My name is Tom Mesereau, and I speak for Mr. Jackson, okay?
Okay.
Now, you referred to your taking notes in response to the prosecutor's questions, correct?
Could you repeat that, please?
Yes. Did you make a reference in response to one of the prosecutor's questions to taking notes?
I've always taken notes, yes.
And could you please explain what you mean by that?
By always taking notes?
Yes.
I take notes. I have been taking notes in journals since I was a teenager.
And do you take notes about every phone call you make?
No, not every single one.
Do you take notes of some phone calls that you make?
Ones that I think are important.
Okay. When did you first talk to any representative of the Santa Barbara sheriffs about this case?
When, let's see, that would have been, oh, gosh, a couple months after Michael's house was raided.
And that would be when, do you think?
That would have been 2000, 2004.
And do you recall where that interview took place?
Interview?
Yes. Was it an interview?
No, that was they came to my place.
And did you talk?
Yeah.
Was it an interview?
No, I just told them, you can have whatever you want.
Did they ask you any questions?
Yes.
Did you answer the questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And approximately how long was that discussion, if you know?
Maybe, well, I was pretty nervous. Probably 30 minutes.
Did they ask you questions about Mr. Jackson?
Yeah, they asked me, basic questions in regards to, how well do you know him? And, do you have any information in regards to what we're investigating, or, you saw, on the news, or whatever?
Did you tell them when you first met the Arvizo family?
At that meeting?
Yes.
Did I tell them when I first met them?
Yes.
No, not at that meeting, I don't believe.
When did you first meet the Arvizo family?
I never met them, other than showed Gavin the bathroom.
When did you first meet them?
Asked and answered.
Sustained.
When you showed Gavin the bathroom, did you meet the family?
Objection. Asked and answered.
Not the family, just Gavin.
Was Gavin the only one?
Just a minute.
I'm sorry.
The objection is overruled. Next question.
Was Gavin the only member of the Arvizo family that you met that day?
Yes.
And where did you meet him?
Downstairs in Neverland Valley Entertainment.
And, downstairs, is in the home of Mark Schaffel, true?
Right.
Was any other member of the Arvizo family present that day, to your knowledge?
Yes. They were, yes.
And who were they?
It was that girl, Star, I think is her name, yeah. And then whoever was in the car. I couldn't see in the car. I didn't look in the car.
Do you know approximately when that happened?
February.
February of when?
Middle of February.
Okay. Would that be 2003?
2003.
Okay. Were you making notes about the Arvizos at that point in time?
Yes. Because there was a slanderous thing that was said against them.
Okay. And the slanderous thing was said when?
Was the first time they came over.
And approximately when was that?
February 2003.
Okay. Do you know the date, approximately?
The middle of February, I'm thinking.
Was it after the Bashir documentary had aired?
I believe so. Possibly, well, honestly, I won't say yes, because I know it was in February, but things are moving so quickly, so I think I'd have to tell you that I guess I would say I'm uncertain.
Did you have any reason to meet them before the Bashir documentary had aired?
No, I just knew they were nice people. That's what they said.
I understand that. But you met them after the Bashir documentary aired, true?
Yes.
Objection. Assumes facts not in evidence, that he met them.
I'll rephrase it, Your Honor.
All right.
Did you meet Janet Arvizo after the Bashir documentary aired?
No.
Did you meet Janet Arvizo before the Bashir documentary aired?
No.
Didn't you just say she's a nice person?
They said she was a nice person.
Did you meet Gavin Arvizo after the Bashir documentary aired?
Yes.
Did you meet Devellen Arvizo, his sister, after the Bashir documentary aired?
No.
Did you ever meet Devellen Arvizo?
No.
Did you ever meet Star Arvizo?
Saw her.
Excuse me?
Didn't meet her, no.
Okay. Is Gavin Arvizo the only member of the Arvizo family you ever met personally?
Yes.
Okay. And that was at Mr. Schaffel's house, correct?
Yes. As I pointed to the bathroom.
And he was alone, to your knowledge?
Well, Vinny had come in.
Okay. And he was with Vinny, right?
Correct.
Alright. Now, the conversation that you've described about killers.
Uh-huh.
Happened approximately when, to your knowledge?
It was soon after the second visit. So that would have been mid-February.
Okay. And to your knowledge, was that after the Bashir documentary had aired?
In America, I think the Bashir thing aired the 5th or 6th in America. So, yes, that would be afterwards.
Okay. And is it your recollection that the discussion about so-called killers happened after you saw the Bashir documentary?
After I saw the Bashir documentary, did the word killers come into dialogue with other people and I heard it? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Was it your belief that the discussion about killers that you heard with Schaffel and Vinny in some way related to the Bashir documentary?
Well, it would have to be, because they're saying it, and they're around, so that would make sense, yes.
And were you taking notes about your discussions with any member of the Arvizo family?
I didn't have a discussion with the Arvizo family. I showed him the bathroom. Is that what you mean?
Did you take notes about any discussion you had with Schaffel concerning the Arvizos?
Yes. He called them stupid Mexicans, so I wrote it down.
Did you write that down?
Yeah, it's in my notes.
Okay. And did you write down any notes about what Vinny said about killers?
Well, he said there were no killers.
Did you write that down in your notes?
I believe so.
Would you write your notes down shortly after you heard these discussions?
Yeah, typically, well, this is the notebook. So I would write it, if I had the notebook in my hand, I would write it and then, or as soon as I could go and write something, I would write it. I was concerned that something might be wrong with the family.
And because of your wonderful concern for the family, you were writing notes down?
I'm going to object as argumentative.
Sustained.
Because of your concern for the family, you were taking contemporaneous notes, true?
For my concern for the family, I took notes, because I wanted to see what was happening.
Okay, that was your only purpose, correct?
Well, I thought it was fishy. And so much was moving so quickly, that if I didn't write things down, I wouldn't remember things, so I wrote them down as they were happening.
And your only purpose was a concern for the family, true?
Well, yeah, because I just wanted to know what was happening. Something fishy was going on.
No, I understand. And because something fishy was going on, you thought you would just take notes of everything that was happening, right?
I took notes because I knew things were moving so quickly, that unless I kept track of what was going on, I wasn't sure what was happening with this family, because people were all saying different things.
I understand. And have you ever discussed the possibility of writing a book based on your notes?
No.
When you first met the sheriffs, did you tell them you had taken notes?
At first, maybe, probably not. I didn't want to get involved really.
I see. And did you continue to take notes about what was going on around Mr. Jackson?
Around Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
I take notes anyways, of everything. For my life, I mean, for who I am. It helps me become a better person.
And you do that every day?
Not every single day.
Every other day?
Couple times a week.
Have you at any point, when you wrote notes about this investigation, gone backward and wrote about what happened, say, months before?
No.
Have all of your notes been taken about the time you described these events in the notes?
Yeah, that's why they seem kind of scrambled, because I just frantically write and I never meant for anybody to read them. They were just for me to understand.
And you wrote notes about the word killers, right?
Yeah, I believe I did, yes.
You wrote notes about how you thought the Arvizos used to be good people, right?
Yes. but those were their words, so I was just writing down what they had said.
Okay, and when you wrote those notes, you thought the Arvizos used to be good people, right?
Well, yeah, until they called them a crack whore, called her a crack whore.
I understand your point.
Yeah.
When you wrote the notes that you thought they were good people.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Oh, I wrote the notes because verbiage started changing around the family. And so I started writing notes during the time, and then afterwards I started writing notes, still.
And you consider your notes to be accurate, right?
Well, they were for me, yes.
Yeah, and you thought they were. Everything you wrote down is honest and truthful, right?
For.
Yeah.
Because I was writing them for me, not for other people to read.
You were just writing them for yourself for therapy, is that the idea?
That's argumentative and all object.
Sustained.
And you never went backward months and wrote down.
I wrote them.
Object is asked and answered.
Sustained.
Okay, Mr. Provencio, isn't it true that in your notebook, you claim the word killers was used on February 1st, 2003?
If that's in my notes, yes.
Sir, that's before the Bashir documentary ever aired. Did you know that?
I just wrote it. If I heard it, I wrote it. I mean, that's what I did.
Do you remember writing that word down in?
I remember writing it down.
On February 1st, 2003?
If it's in my notes, I wrote it, yeah.
Do you remember that you put the date, February 1st, 2003?
No, I don't remember that.
Would it refresh your recollection to look at your own notes?
Sure, if you want me to.
Sure, please.
Okay, yes, here it is.
Did you write, "Are these killers?" and date it February 1st, 2003?
Well, actually, if you look at it, it's a different paragraph, so I don't really know when that was written specifically. I mean, because the top part is February the 1st.
And what date do you have above those words, sir?
The first paragraph, I have February the 1st. The second paragraph, if you take a look at the entire page, there's all kinds of information on there that either has a date or it doesn't have a date. These notes were intended as, like, scribbled memory. So parts of it, unless I have a date right there, then I don't know if that second paragraph is exactly when I wrote it, because I wrote these notes for me.
What is the date above those words?
The date above the first paragraph?
Yes.
Is February 1st. The second paragraph has no date.
Okay, well, let's look at the first paragraph.
Yes, sir.
You say, "I thought they used to be good people," correct?
Correct.
You're talking about the Arvizos?
Uh-huh.
You'd never met them on February 1st, 2003, right?
No. They said they were good people, like I said before.
Did you write down, "I thought they used to be good people," under February 1st, 2003?
Yes.
You hadn't met them, correct?
I hadn't met them, but that's what they said.
Did you write under February 1st, 2003, "Mom's flipping out about something"?
About February 1st, 2003?
Yes.
Yes.
You hadn't met the mom, correct?
Never met her.
Did you write under February 1st, 2003, "Family kids"?
Yes.
You hadn't met the family or the kids on February 1st, 2003, correct?
That's not what it means.
And right below that first paragraph is where you wrote the words, "Who are these killers?" Correct?
Yes.
And after that, you wrote, "Nobody but press are calling," correct?
Right.
Okay.
Because that was after the transcript on the 24th.
You don't write down the 24th there, do you?
No, you're right.
Okay. Now, you've been taking notes about various conversations you've had with people you think are associated with this case, correct?
Yes.
And at one point you were recording conversations with various people you think are associated with this case, correct?
Correct.
How many people's conversations do you think you recorded of people you think are associated with this case, sir?
3, 4.
A lot more than that, wasn't it?
Well, if you count my grandma. She's on, but it comes on automatically sometimes.
I understand that. Let's look at Ms. Milovsky.
Okay.
How many times have you recorded phone conversations with Miss Milovsky?
A few times. Quite a few times.
How many?
I don't know. Quite a few times.
Can you give an estimate?
No, I can tell you it's quite a few times.
10?
Probably a little more than that.
20?
Probably, yeah. Something like that, probably.
30?
Number 30, come on. 10, 15, something like that.
Okay, how about Vinny? How many times have you recorded phone conversations with?
A few times, yeah.
How many?
Less than 10 probably.
How about Schaffel?
Quite a few times.
How many do you think?
Probably 10, 20, probably.
10 or 20?
Probably 10. I would say 10.
So now we're up to about 40 you've recorded, correct?
Well, yeah, I was cooperating with the police.
Yeah.
Law enforcement.
You were doing it before then, weren't you?
Was I doing it before that?
Yeah.
With cooperating with the police?
You were recording people before you started cooperating with the police, were you not?
No, I don't think so.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Did you go to the police at some point and say, I recorded people?
Oh, I didn't. Did I go to the police?
Yes.
Say that question one more time.
Did you ever go to any representative of the sheriff's department and say, I've recorded people's conversations?
Yes, later on.
Yeah, and then you agreed to keep recording at the request of the sheriffs, true?
Yes, for law enforcement.
Yes. How many do you think? How many phone conversations with people associated with this case do you think you recorded before you revealed that fact to the police?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
Sure. Maybe I'm not clear. How many phone conversations with people associated with this case do you think you recorded before you told any representative of the sheriffs about your recordings?
So how many people or how many times?
Well, let's start with people. Yes.
Probably like 4 or 5 people. Yeah, 4 people.
And how many times?
Well, quite a few times. You know, I felt there was something wrong, so I was, like, everybody should work with law enforcement. I did it.
I understand. But you were doing it before you worked with law enforcement, were you not?
No, I did it after.
Did you record anyone's phone conversation associated with this case before you went to law enforcement and told them about it?
Before I went.
I'll object as vague as to when he went to law enforcement and told them about it.
Sustained.
When did you first tell anyone associated with law enforcement, Mr. Provencio, that you were recording telephone calls?
Well, they had asked me if I was willing to cooperate with law enforcement. So I told them later on that I did, you know, what they had requested.
Did you ever record anyone's call before you got authorization from law enforcement? Anyone?
Not to my memory.
You ever recall Schaffel? Did you ever record Schaffel's calls before you went to law enforcement?
Not that I can remember.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. I believe I bought the recorder after the police. I had contact with the police.
Now, you've testified you were listening in on phone calls.
Correct.
Of Mr. Jackson and Mr. Schaffel, correct?
Correct.
You were listening in on phone calls without them knowing about it, true?
That's true.
Okay, and you were doing this because you were so concerned that something wrong might be going on. Is that correct?
Well, it's not that sarcastic, but I was concerned about the family.
Right. But you didn't even know the family, correct?
You didn't need to. Something was fishy. Something was going wrong.
I see. And did you call the police immediately and say, something wrong is going on?
No, because nobody would believe me. So
You just kept working for Schaffel, listening to phone calls, hearing what wrong was going on, and never called the police, right?
I was trying to figure out what was going on.
Okay, and when do you think you first spoke to any representative of the sheriffs?
It was a couple months, I guess, after Michael's place was raided.
Okay, and Michael's place was raided approximately when?
Gosh, I know I saw it on TV. I know the police came to me the first of the year. So it had to have been sometime.
Was it maybe November 2004, something like that?
Maybe, yeah.
2003. 2003?
Oh, yeah, it was around Thanksgiving, wasn't it? It was around Thanksgiving that the place was raided.
But you're writing in your notes in February of 2003.
Right.
You're concerned about killers and disparaging remarks, correct?
Correct.
You waited from February to November to do a good deed and go to the police, right?
No, it wasn't like that. It was basically they escaped, so I didn't need to. I was relieved because I didn't need to do anything.
Did you watch them escape, sir?
No, they told me they escaped.
Did you watch them escape?
No.
Did you know that Janet Arvizo got a body wax that day?
I'm going to object. Objection. Irrelevant. Argumentative.
Sustained.
Microphones off, sir.
When you heard they escaped, did you call the police and say, "These people are being held"?
No, I was relieved at least this portion of this train wreck was over.
In other words, they'd been held against their will, they had escaped, so you had no need to call the police at that point, correct?
Object is argumentative. And asked and answered.
It's a compound question. Sustained.
That too.
Let me try and ascertain your state of knowledge, sir. When you say this escape took place, you assumed they had been held against their will, true?
They said there were signs up at Neverland.
Did you assume they had been held against their will?
True.
Did you assume they had escaped from confinement?
Well, why would you use the word escape? So the answer is true.
Did you call the police right away?
No, they had escaped. I didn't need to.
How long did you keep working for Schaffel after this escape?
I was already gone.
Did you stay in contact with Mr. Schaffel after this escape?
Yes.
On a regular basis?
Well, not the month that I buried my dad.
Did you stay in contact with Mr. Schaffel on a regular basis after you thought the Arvizos had escaped?
Yes.
How often would you talk to Mr. Schaffel after you claim the Arvizos escaped?
Objection. Compound and argumentative.
Overruled. You may answer.
Okay, can you ask again?
Yes.
I'll have the court reporter read it back.
How often would you talk to Mr. Schaffel after you claim the Arvizos escaped?
Often. I would talk to him quite a bit.
You talked to Mr. Schaffel a lot between February 2003 and when you went to the sheriff's in late 2003, correct?
Late 2003?
Yes.
Do you mean 2004, after Michael's place was raided?
Yes.
Yes.
We
would chit-chat, but the chit-chat was just that. Chit-chat. Nothing real.
Did you have any ongoing business relationship with Schaffel during the year of 2003?
Oh, only that I went there to visit him and Michael at Gary, Indiana.
And when was that?
I believe it was in the summer. I believe it was the summer.
How many months after you thought this escape took place did you go to Gary, Indiana, with Schaffel?
About 5 months. I think it was about 5 months.
Did you think you were traveling with a criminal at that point?
I was just trying to get over this train wreck. That's why I gave my point back. I was over this part of my life, and I just, thought now that the family's gone and maybe everything's going to get better for everybody.
And did you ever learn that they went back and escaped a few more times?
I'm going to object as argumentative.
Sustained.
Did you ever learn of any other escapes after the one that you have just articulated?
I only knew of the one escape on the 1st of March.
Did you ever hear anything about the Arvizos returning to Neverland after the escape that you've described?
Objection. No evidence that it's that escape. Argumentative.
It's vague as to date.
Okay, you've indicated that in your mind an escape took place, correct?
That's what they said.
And you believed it, right?
Well, yeah, nobody uses those words.
And you were relieved that they had escaped, right?
I was just happy that it was over.
Objection. 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 Asked and answered.
Sustained.
When did you think this escape took place?
Objection. Beyond the scope of his information, personal knowledge. Foundation.
I'll withdraw it. Did you know when this escape took place?
I only know what they told me.
And when did they tell you when the escape took place?
They didn't tell me when they escaped. That they couldn't talk because they had escaped.
When do you think this escape had taken place?
Well, I tried to get that information, but they told me on, like, March the 6th.
And when were you relieved that an escape had taken place?
Objection. Irrelevant and argumentative.
Sustained.
You claim you were relieved that the family had escaped, true?
Objection. Asked and answered.
The objection is overruled. You may answer.
Okay, will you ask it again? Could you ask it again?
Yeah, I'm trying to find out when you felt relief that the Arvizos had escaped from Neverland.
Well, I was relieved at that point because that meant that portion of this train wreck was going to be over.
No, I understand.
That's what I thought.
When?
That would have been the first week of March, like March 6th.
Okay, so around March 6th you thought they had escaped from Neverland, correct?
That's what they said.
Okay, did you ever check to see if the Arvizos were at Neverland in early March?
No.
Do you know if the Arvizos were at Neverland in early March?
No.
Okay, have you ever spoken to Janet Arvizo at any time?
No.
Okay, now, you took notes about a need for a Debbie Rowe interview, correct?
Correct.
And when did you learn there was any thought about a Debbie Rowe interview?
Well, that was the first time I was hearing about it.
When?
I guess February the 1st, I guess. Well, not, I guess. It was February the 1st when I was listening to the conference call.
Before the Bashir documentary aired, right?
Yeah, because we had received the transcript on the 24th.
Okay, and when, in your mind, were they planning a Debbie Rowe interview?
I didn't know. I really didn't know until like maybe a day or two beforehand.
Before the interview?
Before the interview took place there, I really didn't know exactly when it was going to be.
And when did the interview take place, if you know?
I think it was that Thursday or something. That Thursday or, I was going to say the 5th, maybe the 5th or 6th of February, something around there.
Do you remember writing in your notes about a Debbie Rowe interview and dating it February 2, 2003?
Yeah.
Did you know about a Debbie Rowe interview on February 2, 2003?
Well, they were talking about it, but I don't believe I wrote down what day it was going to be.
Do you want to check your notes?
Oh, okay, what about it?
Didn't you write down the words, Debbie Rowe interview, on February 2, 2003?
Oh, I'm at the wrong one. I'm sorry. Hang on 1 second. It appears, again, you're looking at one that's dated, correct? Correct?
It says, in the middle of the top of the page, February 2, 2003, correct?
Okay, I'm looking for that one. Oh, okay. With the scripts, yes.
You see that? First you say, 2 scripts, right?
Uh-huh.
/ questions and answers, right?
Uh-huh.
And then you say, Debbie Rowe interview, right?
Right, question mark.
There had been no discussion about a Debbie Rowe interview on February 2, 2003, had there?
They were talking about it.
Where did that discussion take place?
Where did that, on the phone?
Yes.
On the phone.
And where were you?
I was there on the phone listening.
Where is there?
Oh, at Neverland Valley Entertainment.
Okay, is that a conversation you claim Mr. Jackson was involved in?
Well, yeah.
And you say here, rough drafts on Mark's computer, correct?
Correct.
Are you telling the court that there were rough drafts of the Debbie Rowe interview on February 2, 2003?
There was an outline of something they wanted. He wanted to do something, so, you know what, I should say that rough drafts might not be an accurate thing to say about that, but there was something there.
Sir, you went back and wrote these notes because you wanted to be involved in this case, didn't you?
No, God, no, and ruin my career?
It just happens all the dates are wrong?
Well, not all the dates are wrong.
All object as argumentative.
Sustained.
Now, the prosecutor asked you about your relationships with Vinny and Schaffel, right?
Uh-huh.
Did you respond truthfully about all your relationships with Schaffel and Vinny?
Yeah.
Were you ever involved in a corporation with Schaffel and Vinny?
Oh, yeah, we started an LLC, I think it was.
Really? When was that?
Oh, yeah, it was with Mark, yes. It was an LLC that basically, if we wanted to start something else, we could do it.
Well, Let's explore that a little bit.
Okay.
Please say what an LLC is.
Limited liability company, corporation.
And who did you form that company with?
With Vinny. I thought it was with Frank, too, but maybe it wasn't. I think it was Vinny and Mark definitely.
And when did you form that limited liability company with Vinny, Mark, and you think Frank?
Well, I think Frank, but I'm not sure. I'm not positive, because Vinny did it on the computer.
Okay.
At the office, he did it on the computer.
And when was this?
Gosh, I don't remember, to tell you the truth.
Can you kind of estimate the year, Mr. Provencio?
I would say it was 2003. Early 2003.
Any reason why you didn't say that in your response to the prosecutor's questions?
I don't remember that question. I'm sorry.
Let me rephrase it. Is there any reason why, when you were asked when you met Vinny and Schaffel by the prosecutor, you never talked about the company you had set up with those individuals?
Nothing ever happened with it. So to answer your question, no, I didn't mention it.
What was the name of your limited liability company that you set up with Schaffel and Vinny?
I don't remember. It was so off the cuff, it was just something we did on the computer. You can do it on the computer in like 10 minutes, and you mail in a check and that was it. So it wasn't really something that I probably didn't pay enough attention to it, to tell you the truth.
What was the name of your company that you set up with Schaffel and Vinny?
I don't remember the name of it.
Was it called Steal the Stage, LLC?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And where did that company operate out of, Mr. Provencio?
That operated out of nowhere. It was registered, but there was no operations from it.
Where was it registered?
It was registered on the computer at Mark's house.
It was registered in New Jersey, was it not?
Oh, maybe it was. Maybe he did register it in New Jersey.
Okay, and what was the purpose of the company?
To explore other options outside of, being on the coattails of Michael or anything like that.
What other options were you exploring?
Well, possibly we could do things with, like an American Idol, but something different. That's what it was, yeah. I remember that now, yeah.
Michael Jackson was not part of that company, was he?
No.
Did you have a board of directors?
No.
Did you have shareholders?
We did it on the computer in 15 minutes, so, no.
I understand. And it was filed in the state of New Jersey, correct?
He must have did it in the state of New Jersey.
I see. Did you ever look at any papers involving that company?
No, he just said, this is what I did, and I just have it set up. Like a kid could do it. I mean, it's just like nothing.
I understand. Just set up a company like a kid, right?
Objection. Argumentative.
Sustained.
Does the company still exist?
You know what? I don't know. To tell you the truth, I don't know.
Did you have meetings with Schaffel and Vinny?
No, I don't think it exists. No, I don't think it exists.
Did you have meetings with Schaffel and Vinny about this company?
No.
When did you start recording conversations for the sheriff's department as part of this investigation?
Soon after that I agreed to work with law enforcement. So it would have been a little bit after they came and served a search warrant, that I agreed to.
And when was that?
A couple months after Michael's place had been raided. A couple months after November.
And do you think that was what year, 2004?
Yeah, I think it was 2004.
Okay, and between February 1st, 2003, when you were so concerned about the family, and that meeting with the police, you never called the police at any time about Mr. Schaffel, Vinny or anybody, right?
You know what, Mr. Mesereau, I didn't want anybody really to get in trouble. I really didn't. I thought it was, they had gone, and that possibly and hopefully this problem was just gone, too. So.
Okay, well, when did the escape take place in relation to the interview of Debbie Rowe?
Ooh, I think I already answered that, but they said, escape, in the first week of March.
When did the Maury Povich documentary air, if you know?
I think it was the third week of February.
The third week of February?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
So it aired before the.
We watched it at Neverland Valley Entertainment. That's where we watched it.
By the way, did you ever find out how the Arvizos escaped from Neverland, meaning who took them home?
No.
Did you ever learn it was a Michael Jackson employee?
I'm going to object as exceeding the scope of this witness's knowledge.
Sustained.
Have you ever had a discussion with anybody about how the Arvizos left Neverland?
Not that I can remember. I know that they had left. I was relieved, and so I kind of figured that that's where it was.
And no one's ever told you a Michael Jackson employee took them home?
I think I heard that on the news.
But never discussed that with the sheriffs, right?
That what?
That a Michael Jackson employee had taken.
Oh, I heard that.
I'm going to object as exceeding the scope of this witness's knowledge. No foundation.
Overruled. The question was, but never discussed that with the sheriffs, right? And then he asked for clarification. What? So it's in your.
Okay, I guess. Let me withdraw the question, Your Honor. To date, you've never had a discussion with any representative of the sheriff's department about who helped the Arvizos escape, right?
No. I inquired about it, yes.
When did you inquire about it?
Probably just recently. Probably in the last month. Because I had a lot of unanswered questions, and I was just curious in nature.
Those questions that have been just sort of sitting in there for a couple years, right?
Well, not a couple years, but.
That's argumentative and I'll object.
I'll withdraw it.
Sustained.
Now, in your notes, and I'm referring to the February 1, 2003, entry, you say, Mom's flipping out about something, right?
Uh-huh.
Is that Ms. Arvizo you're talking about?
I'm assuming, yes.
Did you think she was flipping out on February 1, 2003?
Well, she was kind of strange.
But you hadn't met her.
I know. They were telling me she was strange.
Did you think she was flipping out on February 1, 2003, when you made your entry?
Objection. Lack of foundation and irrelevant.
Overruled. You may answer.
Would you state your question again? I'm sorry.
I'll have the court reporter read it back.
Okay.
Did you think she was flipping out on February 1, 2003, when you made your entry?
Yes, they had said that.
And did you get your information from Schaffel?
Yes.
Did you know whether or not Schaffel had ever met them on February 1, 2003?
He said he never met them, but then I reminded him that they came to the house, and then he goes, oh, yeah.
They came to the house before February 1, 2003?
Oh, no, they didn't come to the house before February 1.
Well, you wrote down in your, as you described, your accurate notebook.
My notebook.
That Mom's flipping out about something on February 1, 2003, right?
Yeah, February, that is true. And it has a question mark, because I really don't know what she's flipping out about.
You haven't met her at that point, true?
I never met her.
Schaffel hadn't met her either, right?
I don't know.
Objection. Lack of foundation.
Sustained. Actually, I'll leave the question and answer in. He answered he didn't know.
And you say on February 1, 2003, in the first paragraph that you identify with that, I thought they used to be good people, right?
Correct. That's what they said.
But you say, I thought they used to be good people.
Yeah, because I'm asking myself a question. Are these, because, Michael had taken care of this person with cancer. They're good people. They're gracious. And so I'm hearing some verbiage starting to change around them, but I'm not really sure. I'm not really certain what's exactly happening, so I'm trying to get a clarity around that. What is really going on here? It was kind of like my general question. If you look through my notes, I'm asking myself a lot of questions, because I don't know the answers. And I just keep asking, because it's I think what people do.
And you're doing this for yourself, you say, right?
Yeah, because I don't know what's going on.
Okay, alright. Now, to your knowledge, the Bashir documentary didn't air until February 3, 2003, right?
The one in the United States or the one in Great Britain?
Well, which one aired first, to your knowledge?
Great Britain.
When did that air?
It was probably the third or, I believe the third or something like that. Third or fourth, because we got the transcript on the 24th, so then came the British one, and then right on top of that, I think it was 2 days later, came the one in North America.
To your knowledge, was the Florida trip planned in response to the airing of the Bashir documentary?
Was it planned?
Yes.
I know that they were going to fly, well, according to my notes and what I remember hearing, that they were going to come down to Florida. I guess.
And to your knowledge, was that supposed to be a response to the airing of the Bashir documentary?
Everything was a response. Push and pull every single day.
Okay, starting when, Mr. Provencio?
Starting on January the 24th, the best of my recollection. Things. As soon as we got the transcript, things were going cuckoo.
And that's when you wrote down that the Arvizos were having trouble, right?
What, on the 24th?
Sure.
No. Are you saying did I write it down and you're seeing it?
When did you think the Arvizos were having trouble with the press?
I thought possibly, well, the phone calls were coming in, so the 24th we get the transcript, and then all of a sudden the phone calls started coming in. They just started coming in, so I felt that possibly. Do you want me to explain or not?
Yeah, please explain.
I felt that possibly there could be a problem, because you have this poor family and you've got somebody who's very wealthy. I've been in entertainment enough to know that, that could potentially be kind of a bad situation for both people. And so I was starting to pay attention, because I had read the transcript.
How did you know they were poor?
You know what? I didn't know for sure, so they told me they were poor, that they were ghetto.
The Arvizos did?
No, Mark and Vinny.
Okay. And this is approximately when Mark tells you they're poor people?
Well, yeah, that they live in East LA, that they live in a dump.
When was this?
Probably had to be in January sometime. Yeah, the late part of January, to the best of my recollection.
Mark knew nothing about these people in January, did he?
I don't know.
I'm going to object as to lack of foundation.
He answered he doesn't know. Next question.
Do you remember telling Catherine Milovsky, Mark is putting this whole thing together? He wants to be the kingpin.
Uh-huh.
What were you referring to?
I was referring to a phone call that he had made to Dieter at the ranch, that, this is what you need to do. He was trying to get ingratiated back with Michael.
And approximately when were you starting this process?
As soon as he got the transcript.
That's approximately when?
January the 24th.
Okay.
Or soon after that.
So when you referred to Mark putting this whole thing together, he wants to be a kingpin, you're talking about sometime after January 24, 2003, correct?
Actually, I remember that conversation with her, and I'm referring to the phone call, because I'm saying he wants to be the kingpin, he wants to be in charge of things, and he wants to look good with Michael, like most people do.
Okay. Do you remember telling Ms. Milovsky, excuse me, let me rephrase that. Did you ever communicate with Ms. Milovsky by email?
Oh, yeah, frequently.
Did you turn those emails over to the sheriffs?
Yes.
Do you remember telling Catherine Milovsky, I would always?
They took my computer. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Do you remember telling Catherine Milovsky in an email, I would always say that MJ had no idea what he was up to, referring to Schaffel?
Well, not all. Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry. Repeat that.
Do you remember saying that?
Yes.
Words to the effect that Michael Jackson had no idea what Schaffel was up to. Do you remember telling that to Milovsky?
Of the total scope, you've got to remember the complete conversation. The total scope of everything, yes.
Do you remember saying that?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember telling Milovsky Michael Jackson was unaware of what Schaffel was up to?
In his totality, his other situations, maybe his past and things like that.
Okay. That's what you were referring to, without explaining it, correct?
Well, I mean, there's a whole conversation happening, so that's just one piece of a conversation.
Okay.
But that Michael and him were business people, but the totality of the conversation was that, there were other things Mark was doing.
Right.
That probably Michael didn't know about it.
But you said that right after you talked to Ms. Milovsky about the hiding of the Arvizos, correct?
I don't know. I'd have to look. There's a zillion emails.
Did you ever tell Milovsky, I saw him give them money to take them shopping?
Yes.
And you were referring to Schaffel, true?
Yes. Schaffel and Vinny.
Schaffel and Vinny gave the Arvizos money so they could go shopping, right?
Correct.
Do you know how much money they gave the Arvizos so they could go shopping?
No. I just saw an envelope with money in it, and then Vinny had to sign a receipt for it.
Did you ever go shopping with them at any time?
Oh, God, no.
Where were you when they were shopping?
I stayed put. I wasn't going to go anywhere near that disaster. I was already close enough.
Where are you staying put?
Well, the first time. Where, are you talking about the first time he gave them money and I saw it?
Sure.
I was in the office. And the Arvizos came over and they parked in that four-door whatever. Vinny came in. Gavin came in to use the restroom. Stuart was downstairs. And I just pointed to the bathroom. And then Vinny went upstairs and got some money and signed for a receipt.
And at this particular point in time, you thought something was wrong about this, right?
Well, it was the conversation, because I said, well, what's going on? And he said, I said, why are you, taking them shopping? This doesn't make any sense. See, none of this made any sense. And he said, do you honestly think I'd take those stupid people shopping? He goes, those stupid Mexicans shopping? I'm just trying to get receipts. So it was ugly. It was kind of ugly.
And you were in the house when Schaffel told you this?
Yeah.
Did you call the police?
No, I didn't know what was going on yet. I didn't know what was going on.
But you suspected something was wrong, true?
Well, you know when something's not right. And you're paying attention, like anybody would.
So you paid attention, you followed your suspicions wherever they took you and waited till the following year to go to the police, right?
Objection. Argumentative.
Sustained.
Do you remember telling Ms. Milovsky that Schaffel made a lot of money off Michael, but I don't think Michael knows how much money was made off of him?
Yes.
And were you telling the truth when you said that?
Everybody was making money, yeah.
Off of Michael, right?
With and off of Michael.
Okay.
Because that needs to be clear.
And your feeling was that Michael didn't know what kind of money people were making off of him, true?
Well, yes, that was true. I would say that's true. Everybody seemed to have different stories, so I said what I felt was the truth.
Okay. Do you remember telling Vinny in a conversation you recorded where you were speaking to him that all fingers point to Mark?
Yes, Mark is a ringleader.
That's what you said to Vinny, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Were you working for Mark at the time?
At the time of what?
You were recording conversations with Vinny.
No.
Were you in contact with Mark at the time you were recording conversations with Vinny?
Yes.
How often would you talk to Mark during the time you were recording conversations with Vinny?
How often would I talk to Mark?
Yes.
Gosh, I don't know. Your answer is, I don't know.
You said at one point Schaffel was fired, right?
Yes, in November.
And then you said Schaffel. I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but Schaffel kept trying to be involved with Mr. Jackson?
That's correct. Everybody does, from what I witnessed.
And when you say everybody was trying to be involved with Mr. Jackson, who are you referring to?
Well, Ronald, Dieter, Mark. It just seemed like they just kissed his butt all the time, so, yeah.
And did you have a business relationship with Ronald anytime?
With Ronald?
Yes.
No.
Did you have a business relationship with Dieter at any time?
No. I mean, we had meetings with him, but, no, I didn't ever, hawk one of their products or anything like that.
How many meetings do you think you had with Dieter?
2.
How many do you think you had with Ronald?
The 2. They were both there.
Now, how many conversations do you think you've had on the phone with Michael Jackson?
Conversations?
Yes.
Well, they called my house like 2 or 3 times, and we talked about, what more can I give?
2 or 3 conversations with Michael Jackson?
Well, and then the meetings at the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Okay.
And the Hilton. And then in the studio.
All right. On the phone?
But it was always business. No, not on the phone. In person and on the phone.
How many times do you think you've ever spoken to Michael Jackson on the phone?
Oh, if he's calling the office? Or if he's having a conversation like, hey, how are you doing? Do you want to go see a car show or something?
How many times do you think you have spoken to Michael Jackson on the phone?
A couple times. A dozen, I guess.
A dozen?
Well, I mean, I say, how are you doing? He says, fine. He's always very polite. And, you know, and on the phone, probably, they called me twice at my home. I would say, you know, for knowing for sure that we had conversations on the phone, strictly on the phone, I would say twice.
Okay.
Everything else was just chit-chat.
How many times do you think you've met Mr. Jackson in person?
10, 12 times. And it was always business.
And were?
Except for Gary, Indiana.
Where did these meetings take place?
Oh, in the studio, at the hotel.
Okay, now, which hotel are you talking about?
The Beverly Hills Hotel and then the Universal Hilton.
Were you with Schaffel every time?
Oh, yes. The first time was with Allie and then it was just Schaffel or Mark.
For how long a period of time were you in business with Schaffel?
For the duration of 2001 to 2003 when I ended my contract and, you know, essentially when I got my last check on the 25th of February.
You got your last check from Neverland Valley Entertainment on February 25, 2003?
Yes, I believe so.
Did you do any kind of work for Schaffel after that date?
Oh, he asked me. I have a pickup truck, so he asked me if we could pick up some stones from someplace. But that wasn't work. I wasn't compensated. I just did it.
What stones are you talking about?
Stones for his house, just like bags of stones.
Approximately when was this?
I think that summer. It was that summer. So it was 2003, summer.
Summer of 2003?
He just asked me for a favor, and I just said, yeah, okay, whatever.
And you helped him pick up some stones for his house in the summer of 2003?
I believe so.
Was that after your so-called escape?
After my so-called escape?
I'm going to object as sarcastic and argumentative. Also his so-called escape.
It's sustained.
Withdraw it. Was that after the escape?
Yes, that was.
That concerned you so much?
That concerned me so much.
Yes.
After I was relieved that the family was just gone and blah blah blah, yeah.
Okay. Before Mr. Schaffel asked you to help him with some stones on his house, you were in constant communication with him, true?
Chit-chat, chit-chat.
Chit-chat, meaning what?
Nothing really of substance. Just, you know, something, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Oh, that sounds great. And then just be off the phone. Really nothing of substance. There was occasional, more conversation, but nothing really of substance.
The corporation that you had formed with Schaffel and Vinny was still in existence, was it not?
I don't know, tell you the truth. I don't know. I thought it was all closed down. So, I thought it was we did it, and then I didn't really put any weight in it. I just thought, okay, if a project comes along and we're going to it, we'll do it. But nothing happened, so I just didn't put any weight in it. And then Vinny had told me that he had closed it I think he closed it for tax purposes. I think that's what he said.
And when was that?
Geez, tell you the truth, I don't remember.
When?
It was in 2003. I believe it was in 2003.
The company was still in existence after you got your last check from Neverland Valley Entertainment, right?
Well, yes, because we were going to possibly work on a different benefit, and then that would basically be, I think it was called, Best Buddies, or something like that. It was a benefit.
And did you work on putting this benefit together?
Huh.
Did you talk to Vinny about it?
Yeah.
Did you talk to Schaffel about it?
Not Schaffel.
Did you talk to Vinny about it?
Yes.
When did you last talk to Vinny?
Gosh, it's been a while. It's been a little while. With today, or a couple of months probably now, I guess.
Couple of months ago you talked to Vinny?
Possibly, yeah, possibly.
Did you record him?
No.
When did you last record Vinny?
Boy, I don't remember, tell you the truth.
When did you last record a phone call for the sheriffs?
Gosh, I would say maybe a couple weeks before. Gosh, you know what? I can't say, because it just stopped and I just stopped it. So, maybe a couple weeks before I gave him the tapes, possibly.
Which would be approximately when, do you think?
Well, let's see, this is March. Maybe a couple of weeks before April 14th. I'm sorry, I'm not meaning to be that way. I'm just trying to be accurate. So I'm just trying to make sure I'm saying what I know is in my mind.
Now, in the notes that you say you took.
Which notes? Which ones?
The notes you have in front of you. The notes you say you took close to the date or on the day these events occurred. We referred to February 1st, 2003, and you said that you thought there was a train wreck going on, right?
A train wreck, right.
Yet all through that year, you kept in communication with all the people you thought who were involved in the train wreck and never called the police, right?
That's true.
You kept in touch with Vinny on a regular basis, correct?
Initially, yes.
All through 2003, you kept in touch with Vinny on a regular basis, correct?
Yes.
All through 2003, you kept in touch with Schaffel on a regular basis, correct?
True.
Did you stay in touch with Frank?
Yeah, the last time we spoke he was in the studio.
And when was that?
I don't know, it's in my notes.
Was it in 2003?
Oh, 2003? Yeah, I kept on talking to Frank.
Was it after you say this train wreck was going on that you documented in your notes?
Yes, I just wrote, yes, train wreck.
Okay, now, I believe you indicated in response to the prosecutor's questions that you thought a press conference was going to go on in Florida, true?
I didn't think so. They said it.
Okay, well, Schaffel said it, correct?
Correct.
Did Ronald say it?
They both wanted Michael to do a press conference.
Okay, and you said Michael was reluctant to do one, correct?
Yeah, he said he doesn't like to do those things.
And ultimately, no press conference took place, to your knowledge, right?
To my knowledge, yes. That's true.
Alright, did you talk to Debbie Rowe yourself?
Yes.
Objection. Vague.
I'll rephrase, Your Honor. I'll withdraw it. During the interview with Debbie Rowe that you described in response to the prosecutor's questions, did you speak with Debbie Rowe?
Yes. And Iris.
Iris was her lawyer, correct?
Correct.
And Iris was sitting there during the interview, correct?
Yes. She's very nice.
And Iris was sitting there when you say Schaffel tried to get her to change some of her answers, correct?
I didn't say Iris was sitting there. I was sitting there watching Debbie. I don't know where Iris was at that particular moment.
But you did say that Schaffel tried to get Debbie Rowe to change some of her answers, correct?
Yeah, he was nudging, like any producer would nudge you to get a better performance or whatever it is that they're looking for.
And do you know if Debbie's lawyer was right there while that was going on?
She was there a lot. I don't remember turning around and seeing her. But I remember she was around a lot.
Let's take our break.
Yes, Your Honor.